Pluppie just kind of hanging out here with the Pharah, being very sneaky up top. But there's crucially no support there at the moment, so we don't actually see like a Mercy sort of hanging around right behind or anything like that. It looks like Pluppie's going to be on his own for a little bit.
Yep, and interesting enough, neither team right now bringing out either the Torbjorn or the Bastion, so no team using newly buffed heroes, and we are rolling out, Dorado.
Yeah, this is, well, a pretty aggressive start coming out of here, to be honest, so far. SG1 doing a relatively good job at keeping behind the payload, but Reinhardt unable to do too much at the moment. McCree already down, and wow, that was a very, very big rush in from Skipjack there. And as things currently stand, I have to say, SG1 are getting... they've actually just been hard countered off the back. You don't get the payload moving back this close to the base now normally, do you?
No, normally what happens, teams will, it's more common back in the last patch, people would defend a little bit further back. We're seeing right now, Pluppie's laying down a lot of great fire from the top, but he is going to get taken out by Genji. Shuriken's on point, and here comes SG1 just like that, pushing the point and trying to push back on Eccentric right now.
Reasonably decent push this time around. Eccentric doing their best to continue to push this back, and Skipjack actually is out there on his own. Pluppie trying to rain a little bit of support, but oh, there we go. Some excellent shots on hymzi there will allow him to take that kill, and that means that for the second time now, SG1 are effectively pushed back to base. I have to say, Lewd in particular is doing such a fantastic job right now, just constantly shielding his teammates and just being basically a complete stalwart, preventing SG1 from coming via the back there.
So one of the things that changed heavily in this patch is that Zarya now works a little bit better with healers. Healers can heal up her shields, and we've been seeing a lot of Zarya play even in high MMR pub. She's great at not only protecting teammates, like protecting Pluppie as he goes in. And we have a big engagement here. SG1 looking for the Deadeye, not going to get taken out right away by Nadir. And Eccentric countering with the Graviton Surge. Multiple people from SG1 caught in. Here comes the Rocket Barrage. Pluppie cleaning it up. And some great coordination coming down from Eccentric to wipe out SG1 yet again.
Yeah, that was a really, really beautiful move, to be honest. It's a bit of an old classic, of course. You have the Graviton Surge followed by Justice busy raining down from above, and that was all that required to completely clean out the team. We now have Genji at the moment trying his best to sort of sneak in from behind to see if he can break this deadlock here, but he gets promptly shut down by Pluppie. That was tough.
Yeah, Pluppie right now just able to lay down a lot of pretty much uncontested spam from the top. We do have a Graviton Surge on top of Eccentric, but Eccentric is going to be able to weather the storm with Skipjack's barrier shield. And right now they're not, I think what's going on here is that SG1 is not necessarily doing the great job of shutting down Pluppie. If you look at their team, really the only two heroes that are capable of doing that right now are PunPu and maybe the other pair to some extent. They're not running anything that should really take out Pluppie, so they either have to win the fair war or they can switch to Hocz. That being said, PunPu, Dragon Blade is out. He is going to slice and dice down the Mercy. That is a big pickup for SG1. And SG1 is going to make something of this, Dora.
All right, and there goes Genji. Is that going to be the sort of catalyst that they needed to actually get this payload moving to the first checkpoint? Because at the moment, even without the Mercy, I have to say, Eccentric are looking pretty solid. They're staying as one group behind Reinhardt's shield. It doesn't feel like, so far, to be honest, Genji has been able to do too much. Yes, he broke the deadlock by killing the Mercy, but up to that point, I just don't feel like his contribution has been able to sort of push Eccentric back. I feel like it's been more for harassment than anything else, and I get the impression that PunPu is really looking to get more accomplished with that move.
So Nadir coming down with the Death Blossom, and he was able to push SG1 a little bit. SG1 is getting a little bit better push here. Note that Pluppie coming down with the Rocket Barrage, followed by the Graviton Surge. Again, SG1 getting caught by this. Hocz with the counter Earthshadow, though, able to make lemons in the lemonade there, and SG1 is still going to push up. They still have a bit to go to this last point, though, Joro.
Yeah, there's a Symmetra in the mix as well, yes. For Eccentric right now, so not something you always see. We're going to see if they can make good use of a teleport to try and get the team back into the fight a little bit faster. SG1 finally making some progress, getting into the marketplace, and we have some really big moves coming from Mafu there, just trying to break the team apart by flying around, using that flight ability from Pharah. But Pluppie at the moment is just doing a good job of continuing to barrage down a lot of damage on SG1 here, but they are now making progress.
There's multiple people down for Eccentric. They've been having trouble getting their footing. We do have the Resurrect coming up from Mercy. Graviton Surge is down, though, going to catch some members of Eccentric in the back. SG1 with the momentum in their favor right now. They are pushing this forward. Sound barrier coming down from Zappis, and they really just need to bring this a little bit forward. But right now what we're seeing that Eccentric is holding on. They want to force this in overtime and maybe try and win the map right here, Dorado.
Yeah, that would be insane if they could win it right here. Really, really crazy. I can't believe that would happen. I feel like SG1 have had some really good momentum so far, and I'd be really surprised if they got stopped at this point. But I have to say, the way this game started just bodes so well for Eccentric. But they're now in a position where Skipjack, for example, can't reliably get his teammates behind him, which means that he's in a position where SG1 can kind of sneak in and do a lot of damage to him from behind. And that's kind of been the difference, really, between the first part of this map and how the game is playing out now. So SG1 are going to successfully make it to the checkpoint. They've bought themselves an additional 3 minutes after that overtime is complete. And now we're going to see how Eccentric holds this time around, moving around the building.
Yeah, I'm going to say one thing we note here is that we did a switch up from SG1. PunPu switching off the Genji, going for the more frontal approach with the soldier, and that really did help them to push things forward. They decided, you know, we're not going to use the Genji anymore. We're going to switch this up here. And what you saw in that last setup there, really Eccentric was sort of just chaining deaths, trying to delay and make something happen. They weren't as good yet, but here they come right now. Pluppie coming in at the moment, does not have rocket barrage up, but they are going to put pressure onto the back line. Kyynel in trouble, potentially going to go down, and SG1's going to have to back up and regroup here, Dorado.
Yeah, this is the defense. We have to talk about the defense here. It's just been so good, actually, from Eccentric so far. Normally on Dorado, guys, in a lot of matches pre-Overwatch beta coming back, and also in some scrims, you often see the attacking teams rushing through the marketplace and getting to the checkpoint before you can really blink. But I have to say, Eccentric have seemed to have practiced their positioning just really well. They're very cohesive as a single unit. Mafu here on fire, just trying to get behind the shield of Reinhardt there, even if it's just for a moment to disrupt the momentum of this team. But Pluppie has just been doing so well, pardon the pun, but he really has been playing Overwatch, if you like, for his team, because no one has basically messed with him so far. Pluppie is at free reign, and I think that's the difference between the two teams, really, at the moment.
Yep, that being said, Mafu is able to go in there, get a rocket barrage, and take down a decent amount of Eccentric, but unfortunately we sort of had the opposite end happen to SG1 at the same time. Both of them sort of wiped each other out, no progress being made, and Eccentric right now actually content to push forward here and keep SG1 on their heels.
Now, I like the switch up that we had earlier on, by the way. I thought that PunPu's Genji was reasonably good, but I felt like it was good from an individual point of view, and it wasn't helping his team push forward a bit. So I like the fact that he switched over to Soldier, but these guys have to think of a different strategy to push through now, because even though Hocz is in, well, the Reinhardts are dead now, but even when he actually got in, they actually charged into each other. It looked like a massive, hilarious headbutt. He had no support. Two of his team were dead. We actually had Mafu and PunPu both dead by the time Reinhardt got past the gate there. So you're never going to be able to win that battle 4-on-6 if that's what it takes just to get through the door.
Yep. Right now we see SG1 a little bit more composed here. All 6 players are up. They are pushing forward, trying to push Eccentric a little bit back, and that is going to happen. Some great coordination. They push at the same time. Mafu in from the top, able to wipe out most of the Eccentric team. But I'll tell you what right now, Dorado, they have a long way to go. They have to get extra time, they have to bring this all the way to the gate here, and really Eccentric is going to have a great period to contest this and end the map right here.
Yeah, that was actually a really good bit of momentum, though, I have to say, for SG1. Because that was the first time they won a major team fight and killed off, like, quite a lot of Eccentric, right? So they must be feeling pleased with the effort right now. But Eccentric, with these, with the ultimates available, don't forget, Mercy still has res available here on Eccentric's side. They're going to be able to wipe the floor right now with SG1. But I have to say, from a momentum point of view, I'm pleased for SG1 that they were at least able to push that far, but it's not going to be enough to win this half of the map.
Yeah, well, oftentimes it happens, and you saw this up a bit, where one team will make a lot of progress by using all their ultimates, but if the other team has their ultimates, they can turn the tables very quickly there. So in that last fight, what we saw was that Eccentric still had enough ults to sort of turn that and secure the map for them. They had fun enough time at the second point.
And that was actually an awesome example, as we see the play of the game from Pluppie here. Excellent barrage. We saw a fantastic example of some of the new progression system in the game. We have a pretty interesting team comp here, though. Nadir with that Junkrat playing a little bit of music for us before kickoff. We have 10 seconds left to go. I haven't seen Junkrat in a while, man. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, Junkrat.
Oh,
he's
never mind. He's just switched off Junkrat. He was teasing me.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think Junkrat's a little bit more viable now because he doesn't build ult with the ultimate changes. But that being said, the gates are open, and here comes Eccentric. Will they be able to beat the 2 checkpoints set by SG1?
Oh, now this is the kind of start that, frankly, SG1 wanted. Because look at this. Reinhardt on top of the payload. They're already rounding the first bend. They might not make it past here because, actually, Skipjack is getting a little bit low. And we have had, we did have Mafu doing a very, very good job there. But actually, after Mafu died, all of a sudden, Eccentric have the momentum that they need to push past it. And look at this. This is the kind of start we actually see from most teams on Dorado. And once you actually see how incredible that was for these guys to get here, you really begin to appreciate just how good Eccentric's defense was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and actually what we saw here, we saw new use of the new meta in that Bastion is just hanging out on top of the cart, and really now SG1 has to find a way, okay, how do we deal with the Bastion here? I actually think the Roadhog would be an interesting switch. That being said, here comes SG1 right now. They are swarming the cart. Hocz is on top of it, but Eccentric trying to hold in. They are down 2 players. They do not mercy. No Resurrect will be coming in. I think SG1 might be on the way to pushing this back here.
Alright, we have Lucio coming out now from SG1 as well. Reinhardt absolutely going at it. We are watching Hocz right now, trying to clear the rest of his opponents out of the market square. And I have to say they're doing quite well. It's 5 versus 3 right now, and there is a Mercy res available. So, just as quick as I was to praise the incredible defense from Eccentric, it did take a little bit longer from the start of the game, but SG1 has managed to get this choke point locked down as well. And Eccentric are going to find it difficult to push back through here as long as that Mercy res is available just for one team.
Yep, we do have a switch up here. There's no longer a Bastion. That was only an opening game. And PunPu going after Death Blossom, not able to take out as much as he wanted. He did get Skipjack, but Eccentric is still going to be pushing in off this. Pressure coming from above and below. Mafu right now laying down suppressing fire, is able to take out Pluppie. So some good heads-up play by Mafu in the fair v fair matchup. And here comes SG1. They're going to push this back. Lewd getting smashed against the wall by Reinhardt. And SG1 sort of a statement there, pushing it back and making Eccentric go for the regroup.
Yeah, this is actually really impressive from SG1, and I was really worried at the start of this map. I was like, uh-oh, if Eccentric are going to be pushing this quickly, this could end up being really fast, but SG1 have got it together, and they are bringing the payload back through the tunnel right now, essentially. They're doing a very, very good job right now. Notice how we have the Reaper sort of keeping watch over the back there as well. Let's see if they're able to put a couple of units behind this army. Oh, we have Lucio ult as well, just to try and steady the fort here. But we have Zarya dead, Lucio dead, Reinhardt dead, and it looks like SG1 are doing a fantastic job once again. Can they kill off the rest, though? Because that Mercy res was pretty big.
So what we just saw there was the bread and butter of the Beta 1 section of competition. Mercy Lucio, incredibly good for pushing, because even though SG1 got the team wipe that they wanted early on, Mercy didn't die. Mercy had the resurrect. Lucio had the sound barrier, and it went from almost all of Eccentric being dead to all of them being alive and almost impossible to kill via sound barrier. So a great turnaround coming from the combination of Mercy and Lucio ultimates.
The Pluppie at the moment trying to do a lot of damage here. I have to say, Hocz is in a very good position to shield the rest of his team right now, but we're not quite able to push forward just yet, and that does mean that Eccentric get a word in through the gateway, and they're actually pushing very, very far forward of the card as well, forcing the Mercy res out of SG1. And actually, both teams, frankly, are now all over the place. This is quickly descending into chaos. Whoever regroups first is likely to have a huge advantage in the team fight. And look at that, Eccentric immediately pulling back to the card, getting behind Skipjack, waiting for their opportunity to deal the maximum amount of damage as efficiently as possible. They are really working as one pushing unit here.
And Pluppie just destroying Kyynel with the direct mid-air rocket. And he is pushing very far in right now. He's on Mafu, and he is trying to take him out. Should he be able to get this, it's going to really help Eccentric push this up. They definitely have the momentum here as they push into the SG1 side.
This is very, very huge. SG1 have no choice right now, but I think to retreat back inside to the third checkpoint, because it doesn't look like anything they do is going to stop it reaching here. So we are now at 5 minutes and 30 seconds to reach, to basically head into the building and try and reach the last checkpoint. They're not even going to play it out though, of course, because SG1 didn't make it that far. So the fact that we managed to get to this point anyway means that map number 1 in this best of 7 is going to go to Eccentric. That was pretty strong, man.